Tennis is not a game. It is a brutal, unforgiving corporate enterprise disguised as a country club leisure activity. When you step onto the hard courts of Indian Wells, you are not just hitting a fuzzy yellow ball over a net, you are negotiating a high-stakes merger. You are fighting for your financial survival. You are battling for relevancy in an attention economy that will discard you the second you stop producing returns. Welcome to Tennis Paradise, the ultimate mirage, where careers are either resurrected from the ashes or quietly buried in the desert sand. Today, we are tearing apart a matchup that the mainstream media is trying to sell you as just another early-round formality. They want you to think this is just a standard first-round clash between two players looking to find their footing. They are lying to you. What we are actually looking at is a generational collision, a tactical blood oath between two fundamentally opposed philosophies of baseline combat. On one side of the net, we have the rising corporate conglomerate that is Eala, the 20-year-old Filipina prodigy who is methodically dismantling the WTA establishment not with overwhelming kinetic violence, but with a suffocating, calculated precision forged in the high-pressure incubators of the Rafa Nadal Academy. On the other side, we have Yastremska, a walking tactical nuke, a 25-year-old Ukrainian who treats every forehand like a desperate act of survival. This isn't just a match. This is a referendum on the future of the sport. This is about leverage. This is about who gets to sit at the table with the billionaire sponsors and who gets relegated to the Challenger Tour scrap heap. Let's talk about momentum, because in the ruthless economy of professional tennis, momentum is the only currency that actually matters. Eala isn't just showing up to Indian Wells hoping for a lucky draw. She is arriving with the swagger of a hostile takeover artist who just liquidated two of her biggest competitors in the global market.
Riding a wave of momentum. The 20-year-old Filipina is coming off a strong Middle East swing, reaching the quarterfinals in both Abu Dhabi and
Those quarterfinals in Abu Dhabi and Dubai weren't just cute little runs, they were massive financial statements, massive injections of ranking points and prize money that act as operational capital, pushing her up to world number 32 and securing her a first-round bye at a WTA 1000 event. Do you understand the sheer mathematical advantage of a first-round bye? It is the tennis equivalent of starting a marathon at the 5-mile mark. It is free equity. It is the establishment handing you a golden ticket because your recent return on investment has been undeniable. When you skip the first round, you are preserving vital physical capital, saving your central nervous system from the trauma of an opening round dogfight. Eala has leveraged her Middle East success into a structural advantage before she even sets foot on the California hardcourt. She has forced the tournament to recognize her value, positioning herself not as a participant, but as a major stakeholder in the draw. But the brutal reality of the WTA Tour is that success only buys you a slightly more terrifying set of problems. And Eala's problem is named Yastremska. If Eala is a carefully constructed algorithmic trading bot, Yastremska is a meme stock fueled by pure, unadulterated volatility. The mainstream analysts will talk about Yastremska's aggressive style, but that is a pathetic, sanitized understatement.
a singles champion. The 25-year-old Ukrainian is known for her aggressive style, big serves, powerful ground strokes, and a game built.
She does not play tennis to construct points. She plays tennis to end them as violently and abruptly as legally possible. This is a woman who has tasted the rarefied air of the top 25, a former world number 21 who knows exactly what it feels like to have the entire sport in the palm of her hand, only to watch it slip away into the abyss. You think she cares about Eala's recent momentum? Yastremska is a three-time champion who made a stunning run to the Australian Open semifinals in 2024 as a qualifier. A qualifier. Do you know the psychological fortitude required to navigate the mud and blood of the qualifying draw and then casually stroll into the second week of a Grand Slam? It requires a level of predatory instinct that cannot be taught in any academy. Yastremska is dangerous because she is desperate. She is fighting to reclaim her lost equity, fighting to prove that her power game is still relevant in an era increasingly dominated by baseline counterpunchers and athletic freaks. But here is the catastrophic flaw in Yastremska's business model. Her entire game is built on low-margin, high-risk assets, big serves, powerful ground strokes, dictating points at all costs. It is a brilliant strategy right up until the exact moment it isn't. When the timing is off by a millimeter, when the footwork is a fraction of a second late due to the heavy desert air, that kinetic violence turns into unforced errors, hemorrhaging points and bleeding out on the court in front of thousands of people. And Eala knows this. Eala knows this because she has already weaponized this exact flaw against Yastremska before. This is where the psychology of this matchup gets incredibly dark and manipulative. We have to talk about the historical leverage Eala holds over this specific opponent. Last year, in the quarterfinals of the Eastbourne Open, they met on the grass. Now, conventionally, grass should heavily favor the flat, penetrating power of a player like Yastremska. The low bounce, the fast surface, it should have been an absolute slaughter for the Ukrainian. But it was a slaughter in the exact opposite direction.
All Alex Eala. The Filipina dominated that match 6-1, 6-2 on her way to a runner-up finish.
Eala didn't just beat her, she humiliated her. 6-1, 6-2. That is not a victory. That is a complete and total liquidation of the opponent's tactical portfolio. You do not forget a beatdown like that. You carry it with you into the locker room, onto the practice court, and into your nightmares. When Yastremska looks across the net at Indian Wells, she is not just seeing a 20-year-old rising star, she is seeing the ghost of her own tactical failures. She is seeing the player who exposed her one-dimensional power game to the entire global media apparatus. This historical trauma creates a massive psychological tax on Yastremska before the first ball is even tossed. She knows that if she falls behind early, the mental collapse will be swift and brutal. Eala owns real estate in Yastremska's head, and at this elite level, psychological dominance is worth a break of serve in every single set. So how does Eala replicate that hostile takeover in the California desert? The answer is control. Absolute, suffocating, monopolistic control of the baseline geometry. Eala's business strategy is built on absorbing pace. She is the ultimate physiological shock absorber. Every time Yastremska unloads a massive high-risk forehand, Eala is simply going to redirect that kinetic energy, forcing Yastremska to hit one more ball, one more heavy shot, until the Ukrainian's frustration boils over into catastrophic, match-ending decision-making. Eala does not need to hit winners to win this match. She simply needs to refuse to lose. She needs to extend the rallies, turn every single point into a grueling, lung-burning physical negotiation, and let Yastremska bankrupt herself with unforced errors. This is the dark art of tactical malpractice, making your opponent beat themselves because their ego fundamentally refuses to accept the reality of the court geometry. If Eala can neutralize the return games, if she can step into the court and rob Yastremska of the precious milliseconds she desperately needs to set up those massive sweeping ground strokes, the match is functionally over before the umpire even calls time. But why does any of this actually matter to you? Why are we analyzing a round of 64 match with this level of microscopic obsessive intensity? Because of the ultimate prize waiting at the end of the tunnel. This isn't just about advancing to the next round for a few extra ranking points. This is about securing the most lucrative, high-visibility matchup in the entire sport right now.
Stakes are high. The winner of this match could move on to face one of the biggest names in women's tennis, Coco Gauff, in the next round.
The winner of this brutal baseline war gets the golden ticket, Coco Gauff. Playing Coco Gauff in the United States, at Indian Wells, under the primetime lights, is not just a tennis match. It is a massive media event. It is a corporate showcase. It is the kind of match that attracts the eyes of global brands, luxury sponsors, and millions of casual fans whose attention dictates the flow of advertising dollars. For Eala, facing Gauff is the ultimate stress test for her brand equity. It is a golden opportunity to prove that the massive hype surrounding her is real, that she is not just a regional star in Southeast Asia, but a global commodity capable of going toe-to-toe with the current face of American tennis. For Yastremska, a match against Gauff is a desperate chance at redemption, a chance to hijack the mainstream narrative and remind the corporate world that her power is still a force of nature that can rattle even the most elite, heavily sponsored athletes. The stakes could not possibly be higher if they were playing for a literal suitcase of cash. This is why Eala's mission protocol is so ruthlessly clear. She must start strong and establish immediate dominance. She cannot afford to let Yastremska find her rhythm early, because if the Ukrainian gets comfortable, if she starts dictating the terms of the baseline exchange and finds her strike zone, the power will become an overwhelming avalanche. Eala must immediately establish her control, handle the power with the cold, calculating efficiency of a Wall Street corporate raider, and keep her momentum accelerating until the final bell rings. In tennis paradise, there is no room for hesitation, no room for empathy. There is only leverage, execution, and the brutal reality of the scoreboard glaring down at you. You either make a statement, or you become a forgotten footnote in someone else's success story. And let me tell you something about the geopolitical and national weight sitting squarely on Alex Eala's shoulders. It is unlike anything else in the sport today. When Coco Gauff plays, she has the backing of the American tennis machine, a system built on decades of dominance, endless resources, and a massive safety net. But Eala, she is carrying the desperate, starving hopes of an entire nation of 110 million people. Every single time she strikes a tennis ball, she is serving as the sole global ambassador for a country that treats its sports heroes like literal deities. That is not just pressure, that is a crushing, suffocating gravitational force that would break a normal human being. Most players would crack. Most players would crumble under the expectation of an entire archipelago watching their every single move at 3 in the morning local time. But Eala has been forged in a very specific, ruthless environment. The Rafa Nadal Academy doesn't just teach you how to hit heavy topspin forehands, it teaches you how to suffer. It teaches you that suffering is not a bug in the system, but the primary necessary feature of victory. It teaches you how to weaponize your own endurance, to look across the net at your opponent and silently communicate that you are willing to die for every single point. The strategic implications of this specific matchup cannot be overstated when you analyze the broader macroeconomic landscape of the WTA Tour right now. We are living in an era where the old guard is rapidly deteriorating, and the resulting power vacuum is creating a hyper-competitive, deeply unstable marketplace for ranking points and sponsorship dollars. Every single match at a WTA 1000 event is effectively a boardroom negotiation for future market dominance. When Alex Eala steps onto that court, she is not just an athlete in a skirt, she is the CEO of a rapidly scaling enterprise looking to acquire new assets. Her equity is her baseline consistency. Her proprietary technology is her ability to read the rotational spin of a tennis ball and calculate the optimal geometric response in a fraction of a second under immense physical duress. This is advanced algorithmic processing executed flawlessly through human biomechanics. Yastremska represents the legacy corporations, the massive bloated entities that rely on sheer scale and historical power to overwhelm smaller, more agile competitors. But legacy power is incredibly inefficient in the modern game. It burns massive amounts of energy. It is highly prone to catastrophic systemic failures when forced to operate outside of its established comfort zone. Eala's entire objective from the first serve is to drag Yastremska into the deep dark waters of tactical discomfort. She wants to make the Ukrainian hit ground strokes from awkward, highly defensive postures, completely robbing her of the kinetic chain required to generate that devastating trademark baseline power. Think about the physiological toll this takes on a power player. When you are constantly forced to hit extra balls, when your primary weapon is continuously neutralized and sent back to you with interest, it creates a massive compounding psychological debt. By the middle of the second set, that debt becomes due with a vengeance. The legs get heavier, the backswing gets a little bit tighter. The decision-making algorithms in the brain start to glitch and fail, prioritizing immediate escape over strategic point construction. That is exactly when the unforced errors begin to cascade in a downward spiral. That is when the hostile takeover becomes a mathematical reality. The mainstream media will call it a grind. The casual fans might complain about the lack of flashy winners. But true operators, the people who actually understand the ruthless business of professional sports, will recognize it for what it is: absolute, cold-blooded, tactical genius designed to maximize returns while minimizing risk. The path to the Coco Gauff match is paved with the shattered egos of players who mistakenly thought power alone was enough to survive at this level. Alex Eala is about to demonstrate, on a massive global stage, exactly why the future of this sport belongs exclusively to the brilliant, the resilient, and the utterly ruthless. This is the new world order of tennis, and Eala is the one writing the rules.